I remember when I was a kid, and I very clearly heard the voice of the Lord say, Linda, you are called to the mission field. I just knew when I was a kid, just seeing people know Christ. I was just passionate about it, even as a 8-year-old. Hi, I'm Linda Lamoureux, and I am the children's pastor at Skyway Church. I went to college and studied to be a pastor, and the Lord called me to the inner city, and I moved to East San Diego and lived in a rough neighborhood and planted a church in a rough neighborhood. And I lived in this house right on the corner next to a young woman who was struggling with drug addiction. I just developed a relationship with her, and she had 2 kids, and those kids spent a lot of time with me because she was really battling. They lived a really rough life on the streets, and all of the tragedy that comes with drug abuse was part of their life. So they'd come and they'd eat lunch with me, they'd eat dinner with me, I'd take them to church, and I just fell in love with them. Their mom ended up losing custody, and they went into foster care. And so I made an agreement with their mom that if I foster parented them, she would go into rehab and get well. We found a great spot for her to go through rehab, and she was in for about 3 days, and then she was back on the street. And these 2 boys ended up staying with me as foster kids for a couple of years. I had fallen in love with them, and they were my sons at that point. And so I followed through with the adoption process and adopted these 2 really awesome men. And they're grown-ups now, and they both love the Lord, they both serve the Lord. I'm really proud of them. In order for me to parent these kiddos, I knew I was going to need family support, and I knew I was going to need financial support, so I just started praying, and the Lord directed me into education. I went into public education and stayed there for about 15 years. But there was always this piece of me that was like, oh, I want to give these kids the answer. I mean, I can teach them math and reading and writing, but man, I really want to teach them that God is not in a bad mood and that He loves them. And I always felt like there was a piece that I was still longing for. I'll never forget sitting down with Dawn Brown when she said, "Are you interested in being the kids pastor?" And I was like, yeah, I'm totally interested in being the kids pastor. And I just felt like the Lord had taken me full cycle, that He'd taken me from being a pastor in the inner city and taken me through this life of adventure with my kids right back to my first love, right back to the thing that I'm so passionate about. Well, I think some of the most exciting parts of being a kids pastor is, first of all, our children have done a good job of teaching me how to play again. I love playing with them. There's such freedom with our children, and they come to church and it is a kingdom playground for them. We sing and we dance and we jump and we shout and we yell out memory verses, and it's fun. Loving Jesus is fun. The future of Skyway Kids, I really believe, is big. I believe that we are moving into a new season of revival with children. I think it would make sense that the next great awakening would involve children. I'm really believing that here in Goodyear, Arizona, that we are going to see a large amount of children come into the kingdom. And I believe we need to be ready for that. Skyway Kids is seeing on an average of 6 to 20 kids a week accepting Christ. I just think the next big awakening will be with kids. The future of Skyway Kids is bright. It's exciting. I'm ready for the Lord to really blow the top off.